Hey guys, I'm here with Sterling today. Me and the kids came up to visit him, and we are going to answer a question together.
Absolutely. How you doing, guys? Happy Sunday to everybody. Am I just supposed to go read the question right away?
We'll say who it's from.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Guys, I have to take off my glasses so I can read it better. All right, here we go. From Kathy KR. I don't know if that's intentional, but if that was, that's kind of funny. Do you think you would be the person you are now if you hadn't been through the Scientology trials? It's obvious you have wonderful talents with style, cooking, flowers, etc. Well, thank you so much. I actually don't do that much cooking, and I'm not a fan of flowers, but that's very nice of you to say. Oh, wait, this is for you. Okay. Actually, yes, that question's for Jenna. Part of it I will answer, but as usual, Jenna will go first on this one. No, it's as usual you go first, but you will go first because that's the polite thing to do. All right, Jenna's going to answer that question first. So the question is, again, since I've just completely blown this whole thing, which is fun, do you think you would be the person you are now if you hadn't been through Scientology trials? It's obvious you have wonderful talents with style, cooking, flowers, etc. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy. That's an awesome question. I love it. I don't think I would be, honestly. The honest to God truth is that I think I would probably be a lot more confident, but I might be kind of a jerk too. Like, so if I'm being 100% honest, I think that having gone through a lot of hard times and things that were like kind of traumatic, and in many, I was gonna say in many ways we were trained not to be nice, so maybe not having gone through that would make me nicer. But I don't know, I think that when you go through hard things, you gain empathy in a way that maybe is just impossible to have otherwise. And so I actually truly and honestly think that I'm a better person for having gone through hard experiences. Like, even when I go through things later in life that are difficult, like, you know, going through divorce, I think before I got divorced, when someone would say they were getting divorced, I was kind of like, like maybe I was the tiniest bit judgmental. And I feel bad now because I was kind of a jerk. But I learned from that, like, oh, that's something, just every hard thing I go through makes me more empathetic. So,
and do you think that the trials and tribulations of normal life are a little bit easier to deal with because they're not as extreme as what you went through, meaning you can remain more calm during those situations? Is there like a comparison in sort of the intensity of situations?
That's a good question. Actually, yeah. So I think that on some level I'm more used to like crazy things happening or like emergency type situations because of it. But also I actually think that I've had so much of it that I tend to get overwhelmed at this point. Like maybe I've had too much. I don't know. The honest to God truth is that I don't really know for sure. Like you can't really know, except that I do definitely think that
I agree with you. I think that's a double-edged sword. I think in some cases you can remain more calm, or you can solve things easier, but at the same time, I think it jacked up our anxiety level a little bit when it comes to things, even simple things, even like just stuff that like, why, some people are like, why would you even care about that? I was like, yeah, well, we kind of do, because I think for the longest time, our survival was based so much on how we acted around people, in front of different people that had the power to take everything away in a whim. And I think that does make a difference in how you address things. In some cases, there's benefits to it, but I think there'd be more negatives than positives.
That's such a good point. Like, that's the definition of people pleasing. Like, you're so afraid of what the person in front of you, how they're going to react, that you sort of have to shape shift or have anxiety and then shape shift in order to be whatever you need to be in order to survive.
I agree.
Right. And maybe like I would take that to another level where somebody else wouldn't get so anxious about how somebody's going to respond.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm always actually amused by or kind of jealous of. I'm like, that doesn't bug me. We have friends that are like that in some ways, and I think that comes inherently with you. But, and funny that one of our mutual friends does have that, I would say. Water just rolls right off his back on a lot of things. But he also got in trouble all the time when he was at Golden Air Productions. So I think that actually has a lot to do with the person's personality. Yeah, but and I think you're a great answer. I think that question, as it comes, towards me as well, it's fascinating to think about that you can go so in depth on that question, and there's so many different avenues that our lives could have taken. So it's hard to give a definitive answer for that. Because, hey, let's say we weren't in Scientology. Let's say that after our parents had split up, and let's say Jenna had stayed with her parents and never came back into Scientology, how different her life may have been. Let's say my parents eventually left in the early 90s, and I got to go to a normal high school and maybe even went to college and got to play more organized sports. It could have been completely different, but we don't really know. I think at this point in your life, you should, or I like to just take what I went through and what I know now and try to just do the best with what I can. And that includes doing the things that I love and being around people that I love and surrounding myself with positive energy and positive people. But there's no real way to know. It's easy to see the things that did affect you, and there may be some positives from it, but I think it's sometimes unfortunately easier to see the negatives from it. But then also just try to move forward and see what you can do best with life.
Yeah, I guess do the best with take what gifts you can from it and do the best with that.
Yep. And then, therapy, whatever helps you out with the other parts, because there's damage. I mean, there's no question. I mean, I don't think anyone doesn't acknowledge it. I think some people less than others, but there is damage, and there's a lot of anxiety. When it comes up, it can be very, and we don't show it a whole lot on here, but when it comes up, man, it can rock your world for a little bit. And it does come from our time there, because there's parts that were so brutal that I guess it's hard to convey in a way, but I think you and I have that mutual experience. There's times when we knew everything could be taken from us in an instant, and that's a very unnerving and uncomfortable feeling that in a whim, in a snap, one individual could take everything away from us, and we had to live with that for a number of years. So I think there is an anxiety and a protectiveness and a defensiveness that we have built in. But again, hey, look at my sister has 2 wonderful kids. She's really done a great job. In my opinion, you've done a great job raising them. I love them. They're fun. They're sassy. They're such a mix of you and Dallas. It cracks me up. And I have my life, and I do the things I love, and I have my hobbies. So, being able to get to a point where you can be happy and cope with those things is one thing. And we hopefully didn't go on too long about that. But
no, not at all.
But it's a loaded question. It's a very good question. Thank you, Kathy KR. I hopefully we gave you a semblance of an answer to that. So
yeah. No, that was a really good question.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right, guys.
Have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. And thanks so much for even being interested in these questions and for hanging out with us for a little bit.
See you later.
Bye.